How do you rate that performance overall? I mean, 100 points again, but how do you assess it overall?
A solid performance, probably in line with what our expectation was of where the game would go. It was a contest, it was a grind. We'd watched a fair bit of, obviously, their footy leading in, and we knew that they were bringing a real contest and they were playing some high-level footy. So we were expecting that to come, and we were prepared for it. So to show the maturity that we did under pressure, especially in that third quarter, to battle our way through it. Even though we weren't playing our best footy when it came to our execution with the ball, like our kicking skills seemed a bit off today, but that might have been their pressure at times. We were able to show enough maturity to come out with a result, so a great result.
How pleasing is that you're able to get the win? It's ultimately a pretty comfortable win on the scoreboard when you're not playing at your best.
Well, it's encouraging, yeah. It's you got to find ways to win. Sometimes it's not always going to be. And we played some of our best footy in the first two rounds, where we weren't doing a lot wrong, especially with the ball in hand. Today was one where we didn't get it right. So there needed to be another way that we found it, and we did that. So yeah, that's the most pleasing part. It's interesting in the rooms. I think our players are showing a much higher level of maturity at the moment. The understanding of, look, it wasn't necessarily our best, but what a great win.
How do you how do you keep a lid on everything, given you've been so, determined one week at a time, but a result like this only, fuels the hype, fuels the excitement around. How do you keep a lid on everything?
Yep, bit of excitement in the newspapers, and we get to work. So I think we're 6-day break, 5-day break. And so we're focusing on 6-day break, as you can imagine. We have to go to the Gold Coast and play another team. It's playing high-level footy. So from our point of view, it's just heads down, we go to work. And it'll be an important one because it was quite warm out there today, and towards the end, there are a lot of guys going down with cramp, and so we'll have to make sure we get our recovery right and our training right this week to be able to perform. But it's not hard for us. When you've had lessons like we have across the last few years, it's not hard for us to stay focused. Might be famous last words, but it'll be what we're trying to do. But I'll back our boys in that space.
How's Joshua Shelley at the moment?
He's a little ginger. Yeah, he's a little bit sore. We don't know exactly as yet, but it was quite a collision. Probably the biggest bloke on the ground coming at speed. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But he's kind of sore.
Is he still here, or is he?
Yeah, he's in the rooms. Yeah, he wasn't singing quite as loud as the rest, but he's in good spirits.
Was there any concern or any thought about maybe sending him to hospital after what we saw with the protracted stuff last year, and I guess the fallout from that? Because I guess you never can truly know with those kind of injuries.
Yeah, and I think we back the experts in around that. We've got some really, really good people in that space that know their stuff and will make the decisions around it, and they would have done everything possible to put his health and safety as a priority.
This is a bit of a blow for Josh, given the way he started the season and his pre-season as well. I mean, how do you kind of make sure, if it is, hopefully for him it isn't a long time out, but if it is any time out, how do you kind of make sure it isn't a backward step for him?
Yeah, well, it won't be a backward step, but it just will miss him. As you said, he hasn't put a foot wrong to this point, and this is what we've spoken about across the first couple of weeks, and the importance of a healthy list. And we know that the injuries are coming because it's a contact game, and so it's one of those ones that for us is really disappointing. It doesn't matter who it is, but especially in this case when it's Josh, and he was in a really confident space. He was an important part of what we were doing ahead of the ball. He was making other players better, just playing alongside Alex and alongside Ben Keys. They were really playing some strong footy. So a disappointing one for the team as well as for Josh, but he'll bounce back. I don't know if he misses maybe one or two. I don't know what it is yet.
Was that a coming-of-age game for Dan Curtin today?
Well, I thought last week Dan was solid as well. And it might not have been on a stat sheet when it comes to kicks and handballs, but we highlighted a lot of Dan's stuff from last week as a group. in areas that we value highly. He's a competitor, and he's playing a couple of roles at the moment for us. And talk about that forward line. He's spent a bit of time down there. He again is learning so much from some of these other guys that he's playing alongside. Darcy Fogarty, Tex. There's not many better than Tex as far as trying to teach you how to play. I think he's really learning well.
I know he kicked 2 goals, but there was that moment in the third quarter when it was still pretty tight, and he had a one-on-one with Larkey in one-on-one Larkey in the defensive 50, and was able to break the tackle and set you guys up from there. I mean, that's probably an effort that's going to be looked at, highlighted during the review.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, there was an edit that nearly mirrored it last week, so it's not new. It's not something that we're surprised by, but it is very pleasing. To see such a young player. He's a student of the game. He's learning really quickly. And then he has some other attributes that are quite exciting.
Is that his position now? The wing kind of forward. He looks quite comfortable on the wing, in a way.
Yep.
Yeah, is that going forward?
Yeah. Well, look, we'll keep trialling him in different spots, depending on what the team needs. It'll be, what's his game bringing? Is he pinch hitting on a wing for us occasionally? Because I think he brings something unique to that position. Again, we'll just keep an eye on things.
How did you view O'Brien's performance against one of the top rucks in the comp? Obviously, it was a match we was talking about through the week.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a massive battle. Up against probably the best at the moment. I think he's shown that in the first couple. It's a small sample size, but he's a very, very good player. So, yeah, Rob had his work cut out. I thought, Rob brought exactly what we needed to the game. Again, Rob's game is going to look a lot better when he's connected with those guys at ground level. It's been one of our strengths, I think, this year has been the way that the groups work together. And I'm talking about Dorsey's, who's our leader. The connection that he's building with Rob and Jake Saligo, Isaac Rankin in there, Matty Crouch. These guys, they have to have that connection for it to work. And so I think Rob's game's gone to another level because of that.
So is that the same at both ends too? I mean, your defence and attack, the connection and I guess synergy is the word that's used a lot, but everyone seems on the same page at the moment at both ends.
We were forced to make it one change this week with Nick Murray going down during the week. But Borlase comes in and he has been training at the level right throughout pre-season. So it's a small change and it does change that connection a little bit, but we're confident and we know we're going to have to use the list. We know we're going to have to play 30-odd players across the year. But I think that's been our strength in the first 3 rounds, has been our ability to understand what a teammate needs, where that teammate needs me to be, and if he moves, I need to move. And this is something that we've worked on for a long time. But I think our players have really got their heads around that at the moment, and it's a space we need to stay in, even when we're challenged. So that probably comes back to today, where we were challenged and we didn't go away from it. We just kept grinding and understood our role and how important it was. So really pleasing day.
Was that Pete Ling's best game best game that he's had so far?
Best game for us, no doubt. JP's he's got a high standard. He's come off after the first couple of weeks and been disappointed, but been a really important part of even in that I talk about the midfield group. He's a part of that. But he would be first to put his hand up and say, I wasn't at my best. I wasn't as clean as I wanted to be, and he went away and worked on it. He had a week this week where we had a bit of fun with it. I think he relaxed. He stopped chasing the butterfly and it landed on him. But he was today. I thought he was really clean with the ball. I thought he impacted the game, and so it's a really good thing for him. Give him some confidence and just some belief in that. You are a big part of us winning games of footy.
And how important was Mitch in the second half, off half back?
Hingy?
Hingy.
Well, I said to Mitch at the end of the game, I think he's moving the best I've seen him move at the moment, which is a great sign. He worked through the pre-season. We know how important pre-seasons are of hitting a certain target. He got through that, did a fantastic job in that space, and so now he's getting the reward off the back. But he looks sharp and clean over the ball and quite explosive, so good performance again.
still looks to be life intense, even though he was almost Phil riding a little bit of almost Phil trying to ride him off after round one. He still looks like he's.
Who's that? Tex?
Yeah, Tex. Still important part of your forward line.
It's just how it works, isn't it? It seems like you get to a certain age and then everyone feels like you have to write someone off. It's just a number. That's how we're looking at it, and we're just going to try and do what we can. The reality of it is it gets tougher, but there's so much more to footy than just getting the ball and kicking goals. Although they did that today again. But, you know, he's a part of everything else. If Darcy Fogarty's doing something, and you won't see it on the TV, but he'll be doing something off ball that enables Tex to do what he's doing when the ball's in his hands. So that's why I'm loving where our group's at the moment, is because I understand that, and we'll just keep working with Tex. We got a couple of short breaks, so you know, we might have to have a look at that, but he pulled up reasonably well, I think.
All good, guys? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.